But the headlines were not just about investment bankers getting jobs. Globally, the big story was the resignation letter of a senior Goldman Sachs executive, Greg Smith, that was published in the New York Times. Now, basically, he comprehensively blew the whistle on the toxic culture at Goldman Sachs. And among other things, he said that they call their clients Muppets. Now, in an Inside Business exclusive, we have Greg Smith himself and then Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein responding to him.
It makes me ill how callously people talk about ripping their clients off. Over the last 12 months, I've seen 5 different managing directors refer to their own clients as Muppets. We disagree with the views expressed, which we don't think reflect the way we run our business. In our view, we will only be successful if our clients are successful. This fundamental truth lies at the heart of how we conduct ourselves.
Now, there's a serious side to this, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
I don't think Greg was saying anything that any client didn't already know. I mean, they don't call it the dark side for no reason. And, you know, I don't think Goldman Sachs is really any different to any other investment bank. They're all the same. Goldman Sachs is probably better at doing
Goldman Sachs is the vampire squid, isn't it?
It is. Well, they're the best of breed.
But the best of breed at that.
Gentlemen, seriously, if I'm sitting in a board and Goldman Sachs, or if you like, if some other merchant banker puts a proposal to me or I'm doing business with them, I'm going to ask my Chief Financial Officer, are we Muppets? Is Greg Smith right? Are they taking us right down? Now, I've got to add now that I think in most of the cases the board will conclude that they weren't being taken down and they're not Muppets. But by Jove, every contract will be looked at again. Are we a Muppet? And by the way, I've seen situations, I didn't met through Goldman Sachs, but others, where they have sold securities to companies, and the companies were Muppets, and they got cleaned out.
That's well known. Goldman Sachs have done it.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, Goldman Sachs came to hit the headlines during the financial crisis, didn't it? When it emerged that they were betting against their clients and really quite absolutely reprehensible behaviour, and you wonder why they're still in business in some respects.
And they were the only ones about whom that was said, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why they are in business, because they sold it to their clients.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it might have raised a question mark over that. But.
Yeah. No. But look, Bob, I think you make a good point, but I think at the end of the day, people hire them because they are incredibly smart and they've got fantastic connections, and as Mike said, they're like any other investment bank, but they're probably one of the best at it. So that's why people hire them, I think.
But Goldman Sachs has got a fantastic network of companies. Sure. As a client, you don't want to cut them off because you won't be seeing the Facebooks and the other companies.
But is it the incentive structures that these investment banks, not just Goldman Sachs, that actually encourages that sort of behaviour by their executives?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it's inherent in the structure of their bonuses and their payments.
Well, look, I've got a very strong view that ethics is just a black hole within investment banks, and that should change. And unfortunately, after the GFC, nothing seems to have changed, and I guess that's what Greg's saying.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
And that's very sad, because it means that we're being set up for another one in the future.
Yeah, well, I thought the amusing thing was that Goldman Sachs management sent a letter out to their staffs apologising for the fact that we let a loose cannon through our screening process. And I'm thinking, well,
that's right. So he was cross that they got caught, not that they did it.
I think that all this is the sort of discussion, and I think we might be exaggerating a bit, but look, this sort of discussion means that in the graduate market, good graduates will tend to go to somewhere else. They'll go to the Apples or the Googles or the BHPs, and they won't go into, or the big chartered accounting firms. They won't go to the investment banks. And once the top graduates start to mark these people down and go somewhere else, then the sort of brains and ingenuity that's characterised them will start to decline as well.
But that takes a long time.
Exactly, Bob. I hope you're right.
10 or 20 year
I hope you're right, but the reason they don't right now is because they're not getting the big pay anymore.
Sure.
Because all the Wall Street salaries are coming down, and so you're getting more money somewhere else, I think.